Just a little patience, yeah. Just a little patience, yeah. I've been walking the streets. You know what? I'm sorry. Let me not do that. Let me not do that to you, my faithful viewers. Singing is not exactly my wheelhouse, but bullshitting about current events and politics is. And that's what I wanted to talk about. The reason why I wanted to sing or try to sing Patience from Guns N' Roses is because that's my New Year's resolution. Patience, which I can use quite a bit of, actually. I could actually use it right now. I can relax. Okay, I don't need to be so. And that's one of my New Year's resolutions. One of my other New Year's resolutions is to stay focused on my goals in life. And for that, you need patience, for sure. And another one of my New Year's resolutions is to sell some t-shirts. Sorry for the shameless promotion, but I need to make a living too, you know. And these shirts, these are special shirts. If you want to get the shirts down with the links down below with Teesprings, those are great too. But these are one of a kind, homegrown. These are limited edition, okay? And these are not being made anymore. These are silk screened shirts, and these are my designs. That's right. So that's the other thing I'm pretty good at, drawing. Not that great. I've been humbled. But there's another one that's first. And by the way, these shirts, for a mere $25 donation through PayPal in the link down below, you get it for free. That's right. $25 gets you a free t-shirt with free shipping and handling. Okay. And they're great shirts. And don't worry, this little shameless promotion is about to end pretty quick. I just want to show you some of the other ones. This, here's another one. While supplies last. And then very quickly, I'm just going to show which ones are, I don't even have them up. You know what? I'll bring it back up later on towards the end of the show. Is this a show? No, I'm trying to treat it like one. Anyway, look, what this live stream was going to be about was about New Year's resolutions. And I really just wanted to talk about that, just philosophize on the need for patience, which is more than just a virtue. I think it's a necessity in life. But then Donald Trump with his fucking tweets about North Korea and the nuclear button, which I'll be honest, when I first saw that tweet, I was like, oh my God, this is not good. And I almost went into like a self-righteous hissy fit, like so many of these other fucking pussies on MSNBC and CNN. Like this morning, I was watching Morning Joe, and Morning Joe wasn't even on his own show. I think he's outsourcing it now. And it's interesting to see people on the left. They're like, oh my God, they're all in this, it's like perpetual indignation is what they have over Donald Trump. And they all wax romantic, like this is the end of the republic. Like this is 476 AD, you know, at the fall of the Roman Empire. I don't think it's that bad. I really don't. And then, of course, later on, I saw Ben Shapiro. And Ben Shapiro, he's laughing already. He's cracking up. And I'm like, okay, maybe things are good. Which, by the way, I don't want to get too sidetracked. Ben Shapiro, I really like to follow him when it comes to politics and stuff like that. I think he's dead on. He goes into the weeds. He brings out details you'll never fucking hear about on MSNBC. Much less from at least the regulars on most of these MSNBC shows, let alone CNN. Even though Ben Shapiro gets invited on CNN, which to CNN's credit, good for them. They bring him on. They bring him on, and he just fucking always rips them to shreds. But the interesting thing about Ben Shapiro is he is dead wrong when it comes to religion. And for maybe the next video, for the next live stream, I want to get into talking about Ben Shapiro and Sam Harris, a true meeting of the minds. Like, you know, there's a lot of, when I hear about some of these YouTubers, is the light too bright? Let me actually see who's watching this right now. Yeah, sometimes I see these YouTubers that I don't want to insult, but there are certain YouTubers that take themselves way too fucking seriously. And let me see, is the volume even on? God, I hope it is. You see, nobody's watching. Fuck fuck it. You know what? I'm glad that nobody's watching right now. Let me refresh this. Okay, three people watching. Is the sound good? But nobody's commenting. Is the sound even on? I'll find out right now. Three people watching. Okay, sound is on. Anyway, look, what I wanted to talk about with Ben Shapiro. It's interesting how someone that intelligent can get it so wrong when it comes to religion, and it's got to be a psychological blind spot. And on Twitter, I tweeted out, God, I hope that Sam Harris has like a neurological explanation as to why someone like Ben Shapiro still latches onto these ideas. And someone tweeted me back, they're like, well, it's spiritual, it's not neurological. That's the explanation, or something like that. And it was a sweet woman, I'm assuming. I didn't want to battle her on Twitter. By the way, is that all Twitter is good for? Just fucking battling people and just getting into arguments? The point is, I tweeted her back, and I'm like, you know what? It's just never a good idea to base your decisions on false information. And that's what just crumbles societies. And I wonder if that's what we're seeing now with Donald Trump, because Donald Trump at least professes to be religious. And I wonder if that's part of the reason why he's making such disastrous fucking tweets and putting them out there. And one of the things that I wanted to do was actually tweet at Donald Trump today and see about, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un just stated that the nuclear button is on his desk at all times. Will someone from his depleted and food-starved regime, which I think that's great. I think that is a great message to send to the world to let them know this. Please inform him that I too have a nuclear button, but it is a much bigger and more powerful one than his, and my button works. The more I read this tweet, the more I kind of like it, and especially the fact that, look, Ben Shapiro brought up a pretty good point with about this whole thing of the tweet and why everybody's freaking out. There hasn't been like any warships sent out there. I think clearly now that Trump is president, he's privy to information that the public will never be privy to. And that's why he probably knows he could do this. And now I don't think this is good either. I don't think it's good for our president to be that flippant with his Twitter account. But at the same time, I guess I have to say I do like the fact that he is that direct and cuts straight through the fucking bullshit that I think causes so many of the problems that we do have and so much of the misinformation. Even though I think to a large degree he also helps play up the misinformation, especially when it came to Morning Joe. And that one video that I did on that tweet that he put out there about the conspiracy theory of Morning Joe, that his intern that died. I already forgot the woman's name, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't think we're going to end up with World War III. Is the one thing that I wish a lot more people in the news would stop almost inciting. Though I guess maybe it's a good sense of checks and balances to have. And now I'm just fucking rambling. Now I'm rambling because I don't think anybody's fucking watching. Well, 4 people are watching, but I'm not getting any comments. And I'm used to bouncing off the comments when I do these live streams. So, well, fuck it, man. That's fine. I'm not going to pick up the guitar again, that's for sure. And I'm not going to keep hawking my wares, which I'll do later on. But I would like to see if I can come up with something to tweet back at Donald Trump. And what could I possibly say? Let me actually share the screen and have this up here. What could I tweet this man? It's interesting to see how other people tweeted him. Oh my God. It sounds like this. Child 1, my cock is so big. Child 2. Mine is bigger than yours and surely the biggest in the world. Yeah, you know what? I think most foreign policy is based on that premise. Whether most people are aware of it or not, especially when it comes to dictators. And maybe that's the direction I could take this particular live stream on, because that's something I wanted to talk about. I wanted to do another live stream called "Is the World Run by Psychopaths?" And I think it is. I think someone like Donald Trump, to a certain degree, is a psychopath, if not a sociopath. Kim Jong-un has become a psychopath. And the difference, by the way, the difference from what I've read is that psychopaths they just have no sense of the wrong that they're doing, whereas sociopaths do. Sociopaths know that they're doing something wrong, but they'll still do it anyway. Whereas psychopaths are not even aware of just how bad it is that what they're doing. I think. Don't fucking listen to me. I'm just fucking rambling on. Let me continue reading some of these. I can't say I mind. We shouldn't allow dictators to push us around. Are you talking about Kim or Donald? Only one of those men fits the definition of dictator, and it isn't President Trump. Hey, look, I have to agree with that. It's true. Trump is clearly not a dictator, and he's not going to become one. And neither was Obama. And look, that was my fear, because I'm more, I guess, towards the right. And I thought for sure that when Obama became president, with all that socialist talk and all those policies, I was like, is this guy going to end up becoming the Fidel Castro of this country? And no, he didn't, dude. He fucking 2 terms and he's out. He's gone. And now we got this guy. So it's the way, unfortunately, society is run from the beginning of human civilization. Firstly, some journalists are fake or impaired with the hatred of their leader, which causes them to produce fake news because they want so much for it to be true. When has he even been accused of scamming money from government? Also, by law, Hillary should have been locked up. Yeah, I guess I'm sure there is a pretty good legal argument for that, but I don't have that. Are you serious? This is like watching a really bad movie, Dotard. Here's the amazing thing. These tweets are actually being sent to Donald Trump. By the way, we're all on a list. I'm on a list just for fucking putting the man's name and doing a live stream about his tweets. So I know I'm being watched, but that's fine. I'm an evil maniac like that. God, let me see if I have any comments by now. Cunha, still no comments. No comments. Anyone? Grasshoppers chirping. So, what could I tweet, Mr. Trump? Let's see. Let's give this a shot. Let's have some fun with this. Geez, since nobody's really watching, there's gonna be between me and the Donald. I'll keep it down to me and him. This is very unbecoming of you, Mr. President. How dare you? That's terrible. That's not a message to send Donald Trump. What can I say to this man? How can we turn this man around? How do we turn the ship around into some normalcy? Maybe my cat's got a good tweet because she wants to get in here now. Sorry for the dead space there. Oops, shit, what fucking happened? Mr. Trump. I don't know, should I refer to you as president? Are you even one? No, that's terrible. That's not a really good reply. And what can I say? to Donald Trump that would make this video go viral. Well, definitely. I don't even want to say. I don't even want to use the words threat, period, his period, life period in a single sentence. I don't want to put those in there because that's not at all what I would want to do. I actually somewhat sort of admire. Look at this. I'm actually chickening out now as I say that, because here's where you really do feel the power of government, by the way. And this is how we do know we still have freedom. So for all you, I don't want to say liberal because I consider myself liberal. And leftist might be too harsh of a word too. I don't think many of you people are communist either. But so many of you Trump haters, like Sam Harris, and that's the psychological blind spot that Sam Harris has, by the way, which is interesting. Sam Harris really does see Donald Trump as like a threat to the republic. And oh my God, listening to Sam Harris before Trump was elected, you would really think that we were going to turn into like fucking the next Venezuela and North Korea all rolled into one. And year one has passed and not another new war. I think ISIS is being like brought to its knees. The economy is doing pretty good. Okay, that's part of the reason why I was trying to hawk my t-shirts, because I figured people, you know, money's rolling around and stuff, so why not? So this is how we know we still have freedom. I mean, the fact that I even have this up right now, and I titled this, "Let's Tweet Trump About His Nuclear Button," and no one's knocking on my door. I don't have the FBI, I don't have the CIA or the NSA or anybody. I mean, they're probably watching this. Somebody's probably even listening in on this. But I have no job to lose, which is why I'm trying to sell the t-shirts. But the point I'm trying to make is, I think a lot of you Trump, what's the term? I'm trying to come up with a term right now. You Trump nervous Nellies. Okay, let's just stick with that one. You Trump nervous Nellies. You pussies, basically. Let's just use the word pussies. Fuck it, it's pussies. You bunch of, because that sounds misogynist, and I like pussies. There's nothing wrong with pussies. I would say cowards. I don't know, but anyway, all of you people out there, okay, you people who think that this man is the Antichrist, sort of. Do you not realize how free this country really is? Do you not appreciate this, by the way? Anyone who's been tweeting Trump, and I've seen quite a few people just freely tweeting at him and insulting him and all that. That's how we know this is one of the greatest countries to still live in on this planet, and it will be. And Trump is only going to be, I don't know, I can't even make a bet whether he's going to be a one-term president. I don't know if he's going to finish this one term, but you know what? I have a gut feeling he's going to be a two-term president. I think he's going to make it through the 2 terms. And if in 2020 he's up against Bernie Sanders, I'm voting for Trump this next time around, for sure. Bernie Sanders, unless Bernie Sanders can guarantee that marijuana is going to finally be legalized. And that you don't have to get a drug test for a job and stuff like that. Unless he can guarantee that, I think I'd still vote for Donald Trump, actually. I think I still would, because Bernie Sanders would turn this country into a Venezuela. Though he does not have the spine to be a dictator. There's something about him that he's not dictator material. You could just tell. But his ideas are radioactive. The guy, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, yeah, he doesn't really understand the economy, despite being, what was he? He was mayor of, was he mayor of Burlington? Or was he? No, I don't think he was governor. I think he was mayor. He was a mayor of Burlington. I can look it up on Wikipedia, but I don't feel like it. So he knows what it's like to at least run a major city, you know? But I get the feeling he doesn't know what it takes to build businesses, you know, and he really thinks that you could just moralize your way through the economy, and you can't. Anyway, now I'm definitely all over the place. I still don't know what to tweet Trump about this. Keep it up, champ, maybe that's what I should do. Keep it up, champ. Way to tease the mainstream media, MSM. I don't feel like typing it all out. No, I don't want to encourage this. I don't want to encourage this either. This is not good. What could I tweet this man? Is it really bigger than Kim's? Isn't it racist for you to even insinuate that yours is bigger, considering the, what is it? The mala fama. That's what we would say in Spanish. Considering the stereotype that Asian men aren't that hung. Does that make this racist? No, you know what? Let me not go there. I don't want to insult a bunch of Asian men. And for all I know, look, I'm not that hung either. Okay. And I'm 6'4". I should be hung. I should be in the double digits. And I'm not. And I'm not. But I got nothing to be ashamed of either. But I'm a married man, so let me not go down that route. Damn it. Well, I'm really getting sidetracked. Let me see if anybody else can help me out here. Are there anybody? Here we go. Matt Berkeley, hey, Nachi. He'll be two-term. Okay. Probably. Do you have anything you want to tweet at Trump? Oh, and I'm losing viewers. I'm down to 3 people. And I think it's just me and Matt and one other person who's probably out fucking drinking a beer. Nuclear button is on his desk at all times. Man, I can't play off this. I should probably take an improv class. I think this is gonna be one of those live streams where I'm just gonna take it down. No, you know what? Fuck it, man. It's staying up. It's staying up. This is how you learn. And this is my first live stream of the year. So maybe people are still on vacation or something. For all I know. I wish I had something. See, I wanted to just improvise on this. Let me see. Can't think of anything good. Looks like we're on the same boat. What it looks like is I'm going to probably be cutting this live stream short soon. Because I really don't know where to take this. No, but before I do, I'm going to come up with a good response. And I'm going to do it live. I'm going to tweet Trump. As for all, that's the title of the live stream. The nuclear button is on his desk at all times. Will someone from his depleted and food-starved regime, and I am not from there, so I can't inform him that he too has a nuclear button, but it's a much bigger and more powerful one than his. My button works. Should I go with the Asian stereotype and call Trump a racist? No, it doesn't work. It's not even funny. Huh. Is this the end of our republic? Or do you know something we don't? He knows a lot of things we don't. That's terrible. I don't type that out. But this is a powerful thing. I mean, you could literally tweet directly to Trump right now. This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. And by the way, I've heard of people saying, "Oh, how do you know that Trump is even really tweeting this?" For all you know, he's probably got somebody else tweeting it. No, this sounds like something he really would say. This sounds like something he really would say. I think if anything, he probably types these things out and somebody comes in and probably cleans it up for him. Like they'll do a spell check and they make sure the grammar's, because I gotta admit, his grammar is getting better. And I haven't seen in his spelling, especially no kofefi or anything like that. So at least that's improving. But this is clearly his voice. This is clearly his personality. This is Donald Trump right now. Well, at least when he put this out there, it was 4:49 p.m. on the second day of January. See, I thought he only did his tweets in the mornings. I thought it was like maybe he would just fire off like maybe 5 or 10 of them in the morning, kind of like the way you have a cup of coffee. But no, apparently he's fucking tweeting. Is this guy getting anything fucking done? Is he really getting anything done? Look, that's a good question. Dear Mr. President, considering the timestamp, let alone the tone of this tweet, are you getting any real work done for we, the American people? I don't need to put a comment after American people. I think you might. But this is not exactly what we voted for. Well, I didn't vote for him, so that cancels out that sentence right there. Are you getting any real work done? You know, I think I might go with this one. I might hit the enter button on this. Should I? Let me see what Matt has to say about this. Matt, what do you think? You think that's a pretty good response? Danny's in it. I think it's him typing and he enjoys it. I bet several continue to advise against tweets and he doesn't give a shit. Yeah, that's pretty. MC, what should I tweet here? What should I be tweeting here? MC, I am triggered. You type much better than I do. Okay, cool. Now I got a little bit of steam going here. Come on. Let's we the American people type something out here, man, for fucking Trump. Come on. Let's put our freedom to use. Now I got more people. Now I'm feeling emboldened. And I got my cat right next to me and everything. All right. Look. By the way, this is what my parents risked their ass for, leaving a dictatorship to come to. Actually, they came here really for just fucking work because they couldn't work over there, and my parents were not very political. My dad was when he got a little drunk. But anyway, look, the point that I'm trying to make is my parents fled a tyrannical dictatorship for freedom. For me to sit here, my parents never could have even dreamed of fucking what Twitter would be, let alone that there would be a president like Donald Trump using it to make such cock-swinging statements, and that their son, who wasn't even born in this country, but they can't take my fucking passport away from me now, that their son would be able to directly tweet back at the president. This is what my parents risked their ass for. So I cannot end this live stream without tweeting something back at Trump. But I need something good. Let me see what you guys got here. We need you to focus on our needs. Oh, that's maybe it's not cock swinging, but calling bluff. Yeah, you know what? And I heard, by the way, that this is like, I don't know if I would say that this is 11D chess that people say about Trump, that he's so ahead of the curve. I don't think so. I don't think he's that ahead of the curve. But I think Donald Trump is one of these unique personalities that managed to rise to the top by being just blatantly honest, and everybody related to it. And I'm definitely one of those people. So let me see. We need you to focus on our needs. You know what? But here's the thing in Trump's defense. What I will say is this. He actually has been doing something about healthcare, because I was about to say that. But anyway, let me see this. Are you getting any real work done for we, the American people? And you know what? I think this is in our best interest, to call the bluff of this fucking dictatorship, because they're not going to do anything. This is not going to end up in World War III. That would be suicide for them, and they know it. Right now, what Kim Jong-un is trying to do, and what most of these nuclear rogue regimes are trying to do, they're just basically trying to let people know, hey, listen, you can't depose us, like what happened with Libya. If I'm not mistaken, I wish I could say I came up with that theory, but I've heard many other people talk about this. That's why they do not want to disarm themselves, because they know they will collapse. They will collapse, as did Libya. Look, Gaddafi was one of those dictators that got his comeuppance. And even then, even being dragged around on the street and having a fucking pipe shoved up his ass was still not enough for that fucker to pay for what he did to the Libyan people. But anyway, let me see what else you guys got. We need you to focus on our needs. Believe it or not, I think he is doing that. And I'm surprised MC's tell me something like that. Let me see now. Are you getting any real work done? What I would say, look, I'm going to, dear Mr. President, let alone, are we going to see any real significant change in our healthcare? Fuck this dictator. No, I'm not put that in there. It wouldn't be diplomatic. No, I think I'm just going to go with that. Are you getting any real work done? The White House. For we people. Did I let him know that I didn't vote for him? No, because then he's going to disregard it. Or is this how the sausage is made? And you're actually doing us a favor by showing it to us. No holds barred. I think I might actually send this one out. This I might. Well, let me see. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is a good enough tweet to send? Let's see. That is actually good. All right. You know what? I'm through pussyfooting with Trump. I think this is what I'm going to reply. If I don't see anything better in the next 5 or 10 seconds, this is what's going out there. Not bad. Okay. Daniel, what say you? Are you still even there? I'm not sure. I think my cat is in agreement. My cat is like, yes, go, hit send. You know what? We're doing it. We're doing it. Don't worry, I'm not going to mention that you guys are in on this. Here we go. Oh, wait. That didn't do anything. Reply. Taha. Freedom at work. Dear Mr. President, considering the timestamp, let alone the tone of this tweet, are you getting any real work done in the White House for we the American people? Or is this how the sausage is made and you're actually doing us a favor by showing us? You know what? I'm going to like my own tweets. I don't know if that's in good taste or not, but fuck it. There we go. All right. Yeah, I want blame when he tweets you back. Let's see. I mean, he had like, what, 300,000 fucking replies or some shit. It's just amazing, man. Amazing. I don't know what to make of him. Like, now in all seriousness, sort of, I guess. I really don't know what to make of this man. Because I think Donald Trump embodies the will to power that very few human beings manage to wield in this lifetime. That what this guy has done, he really, this is where I could almost say I'm proud of Donald Trump. And I would even almost say the guy speaks for me. He stepped on the Republican and the Democratic Party, dude. Just fucking not. And not only did he step on them, he fucking like, you know, like when you stomp out a fucking cigarette or even a cockroach. That's what he did. The Republican Party was like a cigarette butt, and he just fucking stepped on it, and the Democrats were cockroaches, and he just crushed them, crushed them. And I like that because I remember when he won, even though I didn't vote for the guy. I'll never forget election night when, like, everyone was in this national state of cognitive dissonance. People just could not believe it. I remember feeling giddy. I remember like laughing to myself and being like, oh my God, he did it. He fucking did it. He pulled it off. And that's what I think makes this country great. You want to go back outside? Hold on a second. You know what? I'm going to put out very quickly. I'm going to stop screen sharing. And I'm going to invite anyone. Anyway, where's the invite thing? I'm going to invite anybody who wants to jump in here. Anyone want to jump in? Here's the link. And set me straight. Let me know. I mean, well, it looks like you guys that are listening, I think he's realized he could do Twitter is all. They can't control that. He's been limited a lot. Yeah. And of course, it's not like there's a button on these desks. It's a code. There was a really good special for anybody who's interested. And I think it was CBS. I think it was 60 Minutes. This was before Trump was elected. And I remember they were basically just trying to scare the shit out of the American public about how easy. Hey, what's up, MC? Can you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, hey, man. How you been? Happy New Year, bro.
Happy New Year to you. Hey, I was like, I got to fix something. There we go.
Some wine over here. All right, man. Here's to the new year. To the new year.
Happy New Year.
So you tell me, man. You tend to be much more. I'm the one that actually puts out the live streams, but you sound a lot more knowledgeable about this shit than I do, especially since we're the military. So
well,
what do you think about tweet?
That's because I'm so much older. It's the mileage, dude. It's the mileage. I can tell you that.
But you're obviously not worried about this tweet. You're not worried about the state of the republic, are you?
No, but I will say this. All right, this is one of the few tweets that Trump should not have said. Not this way. This is something. I mean, maybe me. I mean, people can hammer me all they want for this, but this is not something to joke about. I mean, you don't joke about nuclear war when you are in that position. Okay, I mean that's over the top in my opinion. You need to be cognizant of not necessarily this Kim Jong-un, right? But how the rest other elements in the rest of the world could react to it. Now, the situation isn't inflamed to where we're going to get a real harsh negative reaction from the bigger players, right? We're not going to get a big harsh reaction from Europe. We're not going to get a big harsh reaction from Russia, and we're not going to get a big harsh reaction from China per se. But you've got to be careful. You have to be knowledgeable to, okay, this is we're getting closer to a line that we don't need to cross. All right. I don't mind him tweeting about Kim Jong-un. I think a tweet response probably would have been okay, just not the way he necessarily did that. And I think that you're right about this is Trump's personality. This is an example of how, this is his core. This is how he actually is. Now, I will also say this. The tweet a few days ago about the airlines, where I'm responsible for no airlines crashing into this in the United States or anyone dying, that was pure troll. And my God, the mainstream media took it hook, line, and sinker, and they're busy talking about, well, how could Trump claim that there were no deaths on airlines? All right, how could he in a White House briefing? You got so much else going on in the world, and you're asking the president. You got the mainstream media asking about, well, how come there's no deaths on airlines? And they're so unaware. they lack self-awareness to such a degree they don't even see how they got played in that regard. So I think he doesn't play 4D chess, okay, but he does troll the media, and they're frankly easy to troll.
And now, would you say, because I remember, I think it was you when I did the video on it wouldn't be about, I forgot how I even titled it, but about Trump being impeached because it was almost treasonous what he was doing, or at least, man, that teetered on libel when he said that thing about Morning Joe. But that's where he's not, obviously not stupid, because the way that tweet was worded and he had unsolved mystery. I think if he would have probably put unsolved murder, or let alone investigate for murder, I think that might have been enough to have him. I think that might have been treasonous. But you were actually saying, no, that's not really treason. And
no, that's not treasonous, because he's not actually accusing anybody of anything, right? What he's doing is he's directly hitting back somebody that has made ridiculous claims about him on a personal level, right? And that's the other thing about Trump, unfortunately, is like Trump has been in those, high circles, those quote unquote big circles, right? Those power circles. He himself was not a quote unquote player per se in those things, but he's always traveled in those circles. He's always talked to. These are people he knows personally. These are people that he's talked to directly. That now, when they're media figures, they're like, okay, well, now I'm going to take my shot at things because of things that I don't like about him, or things about his policy. And he's now using the bully pulpit, right? Specifically the tweeter bully pulpit, right? To bully back a bit. Is it unseemly? Is it un-American? To be honest, let's go back to the early founding of the country. This kind of rhetoric was typical, all right, of political discourse in America. In a lot of ways, we're going back to that type of discourse so that you don't have these politicians are going backwards, I think.
Right. No. I think in that sense, it's refreshing in an alarming way. It's refreshing to see how direct he's being with the American people. I mean, that's that. And it's also really refreshing in an alarming way to see how open our democracy really is. We really do have a democracy, because, man, if Hillary Clinton would have won, I would have thought to myself, man, it looks like it's really just between clearly the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, and down to really two families, the Bushes and the Clintons, and then it would have almost seemed to, I think, most people, they would have been like, oh, chances are Hillary probably could have said, you know what, let the black guy become president for right now. Let Obama get it, because I know I'm going to get it the next time around, but with Trump becoming president, I'm like, okay, wow, we really do have a democracy. It seems like it's obviously very real. And yet at the same time, it's kind of scary that almost to become president. I mean,
well, the thing is even this stream here, Nachi, right? The founding fathers, when they created the Constitution of the United States, the executive branch was supposed to be the second most powerful branch. The most powerful branch was supposed to be the legislative branch. Now what you have is the presidency is the most powerful branch. The second most powerful branch is the judiciary, right? And the legislative branch is probably the weakest of all the branches. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact that people have forgotten that these people that we send to Congress, they are representing us. These are our direct representatives. In many ways, well, let's just take a look, for example, at this special counsel, all right, that was quote unquote appointed, all right, to investigate Trump, Mueller. Okay, what the heck is a special counsel, all right, that was within the administrative branch investigating the administrative branch? This is nonsense. Okay, who's supposed to investigate the executive branch? the frickin' legislature. That's what they had laws for. That's what they were created for. Why didn't they, all right, assign a special counsel? Why aren't they doing their jobs? But everyone has this focus, and part of it's understandable because Trump is, and every president is, a single individual, right? So everyone can focus on he's to blame, right? Rather than that collective, oh, it's Congress, because then nobody, when you say Congress is to blame, okay, who then in Congress do you look at? Who then do you point a finger at, right? Most people, I would say, can't even name more than one or possibly two congressmen, and many of them won't even know their own, right? That are in Congress today, all right? And I think that's one of the biggest things that's been lost. I keep arguing with some of the other guys on some of the other streams, and I like Mad Dodge, right? And I love Mad Dodge, but he comes back and just like in California. California has legalized marijuana. No, they haven't. All right. All they said is that they're not going to waste state resources in prosecuting marijuana. It's still a federal crime. What if all these states are able to remove criminalization from marijuana laws, how come we can't decriminalize it in our federal system? How come our legislators, our people's representatives that we send to represent us to write these laws, how come they can't sit up there and they legalize it? It's within their power. But everyone focuses on the president. Well, you shouldn't be enforcing this law. Well, then don't write the freaking law or change the damn thing.
Which makes me wonder. Yeah, no, go ahead. Finish up what you were saying.
No, that's what I wanted to say. I was just being a little dramatic there for drama's sake.
No, yeah, and it no, but I can understand where that would come from because it is a little frustrating to see like that. Like, why isn't marijuana finally legalized? But then again, I think it also goes to show in terms of marijuana, without getting too sidetracked, it goes to show that there is more than enough people that just don't want it to be legal. And that's really what, there's not that many conspiracy theories, this whole thing about, oh, it's the alcohol and the tobacco. No, I think it was proven with California, at least when they had, I think it was Prop 8 was, I got confused. I think Prop 8 was for gay marriage, whatever. But when they had their chance at making marijuana recreationally legal, I just remember there being a vote where people were shocked that no, the majority of Californian voters, at least the ones that show up to the polls, did not want marijuana to be legal.
Well, yeah, but I mean, how many people showed up to the polls?
Right, and then that's the thing. The pot smokers are the ones that are supposed to be fucking showing up, and chances are they're not.
Well, yeah, but my point there is that this goes back to the American psyche of they don't think that their vote matters. They don't think that they're not engaged in choosing who is going to represent them, who their representatives are. Now, I do think a part of that, to be honest, is the fact that the federal power structure is much too great. Okay, so there's all these different layers that have removed people from, what they could consider direct representation. All right, I mean, we only have 500 and something, 538 members of Congress. Okay, throughout the entire nation, for a nation of 330 to 360 million, depending upon how that's being measured. Okay, so that's very watered down. Okay, and so that's one of the reasons why people, they feel somewhat disenfranchised. I mean, I make a vote and I'm outvoted by 1,000 to 1. Is what many people feel. This is both in the blue states, and the same thing happens in the red states. People are feeling that disenfranchisement, but the reason they're feeling disenfranchised isn't so necessarily so much that the federal government, they're not making an impact on the federal government. It's the fact that the federal government has too much direct power within their lives, and that needs to be reduced. They need to people need to realize, get back into your local politics, get back into your state politics, where you have more direct control and where you can start making these changes, all right, within your own environments, rather than expect the federal government to come back with a solution that may not work for you. I mean, if you want to know how bad it is, just take a look at this recent Senate election in Alabama, right? If you take a look, the year before, when the president elected, you had close to 2 million people voting. You had like 1.3 million voting in this last election. All right. So you reduced it to a third or by a third what people voted just the year before in the numbers of the elections. It's insane. You know, it shows you just how disinterested Americans can be with the system, especially the federal system.
I also wonder, though, aside from disinterested, I think sometimes, man, there's only so much shit you can keep up with, you know. And I don't think that, and that's the thing. I think it's a confluence of so many factors, you know, because I don't think that the government and the Constitution were designed that way to take advantage of the fact that people are going to be distracted and just too busy. There needs to be, you don't want to make it that easy because then you'd have dictatorships left and right. But at the same time, yeah, it's that push and pull, you know, that double-edged sword, you know, that makes it so difficult. I
Well,
wish it could be. Go ahead.
I think that the idea of having states' rights start to regain some of their power. I'm not a person who believes that the states necessarily are, you know, can ignore the federal government. I understand the need for a centralized government to a point. Okay, I just think that it's so over the top now. I mean, let's go back to the 1800s for a second, just again, you know, very quickly. You end up with the shootout at the OK Corral, right? Now think about this: the shootout at the OK Corral occurred because the ERPs were determined to enforce the city ordinance against guns in the city. Okay, at that time, nobody cared about an individual's rights to walk around in the city with a gun. Okay, it wasn't a how dare you trample on my individual right to own a gun or carry a gun in the city. All right, they were the people that were carrying the guns in the cities were the people that were doing it because they were doing it against the ERPs, not necessarily against the ordinance per se, but they weren't complaining saying, look, I need to have my Second Amendment rights. All right, and nobody in the nation and all the papers in the nation, all right, you don't see them bringing up the Second Amendment of how dare the city of Tombstone, all right, ban guns, all right, in the city because you're violating the individual's rights. All right, people had a different mentality and a different outlook. Am I making sense?
Oh, no, no, for sure. Things were a lot more direct. And by the way, Ernest just came in. Ernest, sorry that I muted you for a second, but I heard you like kind of. Are you?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. Sorry, acid reflux.
I'm hearing some buzzing. Like, how's it going, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, man. Yeah, thanks. I just had to weigh in on this because I love a good deal of confusing American politics, but and especially since in Canada. By the way, I kind of came onto this stream a bit late, but the whole Second Amendment thing, we really don't have that here in Canada, and it works well for us because, I mean, I guess if you compare the amount of firearms deaths here as opposed to, say, Chicago, just Chicago, it's a massive difference. I mean, I think Toronto last year, I think there was like 50 people killed by firearms in Toronto, which is nothing. But I think like Americans make such a big deal about the Second Amendment, especially nowadays, is because it's just the way your culture is. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry.
I can see the comments. One of the people commented right now that the Second Amendment should not even be up for discussions anymore. So that's.
Well, no, I agree.
I kind of agree, dude. I have to agree with that.
You have the right to carry arms in the United States. It is in your Constitution, and it's not going to be changed because it's been in there since 1776. And it's just that intrinsic part of what makes your Constitution so unique. Now, is it completely irrelevant in today's society? Yes, because Bucky's 12-gauge shotgun is not going to shoot down a drone unless he's very lucky and drinks a lot of Coors Light. But
it'll take down a home invader, dude.
No, I don't disagree with that, and that's why I like your laws, because in Canada, if somebody were to break into my house and I shoot them, I go to jail. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. If you shoot somebody, the police come and you say, yeah, he broke into the house, he had a knife, I had a gun, I shot him dead. The police will arrest you and you'll be charged with murder.
Even if the guy stabbed you?
Yeah, yes, I believe so. I'm not 100% because this happened in a province that I'm not going to say because I have promised.
No,
no, yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to avoid it. It happened in a place called it just happened in a place called Botwood, and I think they hit him in the face and knocked him down, and then he had a handgun, which he used to shoot. He shot one of them and killed him, and he wounded the other one, and the police came and he got charged with manslaughter. And it's only if you are only allowed to give a response if it is measured. Like it has to be a measured response. Like if he has a knife, you can't use your gun. You have to run around, find a knife, and then jab at him. But it's a confusing system.
Yeah.
No, I agree. There is no stand your ground law here because technically we don't own our own property in Canada. Technically.
Yeah, which is another issue. But the reason I was bringing up.
Yep, go ahead.
The reason I was bringing up a tombstone, right? And the reason I think it's illustrative to people is the fact that people weren't worried about the federal government dictating gun rights. They were fine to let the local populations make these decisions for them. All right. They what they were worried about at that time was the federal government. They just wanted to make sure that the federal government stayed out of their lives and stayed out of what they were doing as absolutely much as possible. All right. Nowadays, all right, you keep seeing a push, a national push to change these laws, to get the gun rights laws taken away. Is that your home defense mechanism there? Your home defense machete?
Well, actually, it's a cookery knife because Nachi was mentioning, can you stab him? And I'm just like, well, I'm kind of covered on this. All I need now is a gun, and I'm kind of suited for all attackers.
Well, don't you think you guys should be investing in like claymores or some other big weapon sword, like maybe Viking swords or a couple samurai swords?
I'm from Newfoundland. We have everyone has a wood cutting axe, so we're good.
Oh, okay.
We're like mail order Vikings. We all just come with alcohol and sharp wood cutting instruments.
As long as you don't start painting your face, we're good, right? Is that how it works?
We do that every now and then. It comes after a lot of drinking, and that's what happens when you let your friend leave you alone with a marker when you fall asleep. It's like Dave Chappelle said, don't fall asleep around white people.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what it is.
But
Beardbarian.
Right? I like the Beardbarian.
The Beardbarian.
Oh, he's from Central Canada.
You guys know each other?
I don't think we have. I don't think have we streamed together? I don't believe we have.
Oh well, you meet now, and yeah, man. I mean, coming back to what you were saying with the whole thing of Wyatt Earp, and yeah, taking it back to like the fucking West. Yeah, there was a lot more direct involvement between the people and government, and especially in the local politics. And it's true, man. It is a shame how many people, and to a certain degree, myself included, are completely disconnected from their local politicians. I can name my local congresswoman. I don't want to give away where I live, so I'm not going to mention who she is, but it's a she. I know that.
I already know.
Yeah, and so then, and she's Cuban, and she's great. I haven't had any real problems with her. At least one of our senators, Marco Rubio, and our fucking governor, Charlie Crist, and I. And it's true, people are very disconnected. But I guess the larger the populations start to become, there almost needs to be these layers, and that's where it does become tricky, to get things done and still carry on a life without becoming like a part-time political geek like I am. You know,
Well, Nachi, if I may say, I really think that in this day and age, involvement in politics, even on a part-time basis, is an absolute necessity. As someone who's been involved in it myself, and who's, as you know, and you were a help to me, ran for local office unsuccessfully, but I tried.
Good luck, at least you tried. I mean, you're trying to make a difference. That's important.
I tell you this, and this is the thing. I'm 28 years old, and I'm trying because I gave a shit, and that's why I got involved. And for me, it was great because I ran in the first. There was a by-election, and I ran, and I only got like 50 votes. And then I ran, a year later in the general election, and I got 236. So, I mean, out of, which is not a bad number because the highest candidate around 1,100. But, so, I mean, I'm catching up. Next next election, I will probably get a seat, hopefully.
Good luck to you.
Thank you. But this is only the beginning. I'm aiming for provincial government, but that's not going to be discussed. Nachi, I'll rant, and I'm going to piss off your view. You'll lose subscribers. So,
just a couple of views. We're down to 6 anyway, so it's fine.
No, I'm just like, for here at least, I can say for Newfoundland and even some parts of Canada where I've lived, there's a lot of apathy because people literally think, this is why, you have low voter turnouts here and in the U.S. Is because people think nothing's going to change. They just think, oh, well, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna vote for either option A or option B. Can't vote for option C because he's a socialist, then he'll just, collectivize everything. But I'll vote for these guys, nothing's going to change, and I'm just going to sit here and complain while my taxes go up. and it always happens. It always does, and it's because at least here we've been in Canada for 69 years. And you won't believe this. We gave up our sovereignty as a sovereign nation to join Canada. We literally said we can't run ourselves anymore. We give up. Embrace us, oh great white North. And then they just completely raped us of resources and then left us out in the middle of the Atlantic.
Set you adrift. Join Greenland.
It was a really bad date. Let's just say that. It was just a date that went horribly wrong, and some alcohol was involved. But,
alcohol involved in a lot of bad decisions, to be honest.
No, but I think that's the way.
Yeah. 1776.
I was going to say, I think that's unfortunately the way humanity functions, man. And that's why with Donald Trump, I think he's one of those people who's kind of proven it. I mean, history belongs to those people who show up, and especially the ones who fucking have the sharp elbows to fucking get through. And, and that's the way it was.
Trump rode a wave he rode a series of waves, right? This is what I don't think people recognize. Right? It wasn't just one big anti-establishment wave. Okay, it was a series of waves that even put him in a position where he could win a lot of these primaries, where he could win the Republican nomination. I mean, let's be honest. The first thing when he announced, and he actually decided to run for president in the Republican Party, everyone was laughing, and there was literally article after article after article in the newspapers. There was literally news shows constantly dedicated to the fact that he doesn't really mean it. He's just running as a joke. All right. There's no freaking chance. All right. And what they failed to recognize at that point, all right, was within the Republican Party itself, their demographics, their quote unquote support, their base had shifted dramatically out from underneath them, and nobody seemed to be aware of it. Now, they should have been.
Well, they were out of touch, and I mean, it's been happening. I mean, the Democrats are out of touch with their with the majority of their base, and so are the Republicans, because they just think, oh, if we just say the same old buzzwords, we just talk about states' rights, gun control, we sprinkle in a bit of God here and there, we'll keep the rubes coming back to the booths, and they're just going to vote us back in, and this and that. But the problem is that people are tired of the Mitch McConnells. They're tired. They were tired of the Nancy Pelosi's and Harry Reids and all the other people, left and right, because what really pissed off Americans is that you had senators and congressmen who have literally spent the majority of their lives in government and haven't achieved shit.
Oh yeah, very very much so. I mean, my two senators. Well, one of my senators has been there for frickin' ever, which is McCain. The other senator is Flake. So I've got the worst two senators in the nation right now. Luckily, one of them will be gone soon, simply because he's not running for re-election, which is Flake.
I'm so glad Jeff Flake's not running again. And I wish that one thing I'd love to see is Paul Ryan gone. Paul Ryan is just, he can go back. Listen, if he wants to go and do his P90X, all he wants, he can go and do that. But he should probably be doing an exercise commercial, not running the U.S. Not being Speaker of the House, because he's just an idiot. And I have to give Trump some credit. He has still kept a decent amount of his base behind him, because he's actually coming through with some of his promises. I mean, the tweeting is a bit out there. I mean, here on the radio in this town, the host it's out of the capital, St. John's, but the host was on there, mocking Trump and saying, oh, you're discussing your nuclear button. Oh, you should be using dialogue with the North Koreans and not playing not having a pissing match. No, a lot of people I know want him to blow the place off the face of the map, because it's a dangerous state.
That's why the majority of people aren't president either. Hey, by the way, if you don't mind, Ernest, I don't know if it's your microphone or something. It's like staticking.
Oh, could be the beard. I have to shave. But is that better? Is that better?
Okay,
or...
No, it's gone.
Okay, yeah, it's bristling against my seal-like beard. But
I gotta get a new mic myself, but yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, as much as I appreciate that direct communication with the American people, dude, the way some of these tweets, dude,
I know. But like I said, I don't know if you've seen my tweet there. I said I wish he would if he just went off Twitter, like literally took like 2 or 3 days off and just said, I'm not going to say a word. Do you know how much people would panic? Like, there would, the whole left would literally piss its pants.
What would happen? I can tell you what would happen if he announced, especially if he announced it, not if he didn't tweet for 2 days. If he announced he wasn't going to do it, the press then would sit up there and say, for 2 solid days, the mainstream media, right? Oh, he's a coward, he doesn't want to tweet. Yeah. He's gotten into so much trouble. Look at this. For 2 days straight, they would have a bass fest without any pushback.
But they'd be scared at the same time, because they need him. Well, they need his gas.
Believe it or not, they do, but they don't realize that. They're so self-unaware of how much people watch them, because they're engaging Trump. Okay, they really are some narcissistic, self-unaware individuals. You can see it when they're talking. When you get them off
trust
camera.
me, I know. Well, I'll tell you something else. Actually, speaking about narcissistic individuals, and this shocked me, how uncaring the majority of Canadians are about this. I'm not sure if any of you know who the Aga Khan is.
I have no idea even what that is.
He is the leader of the Ismaili Islam sect. Ismaili Muslim sect of Islam. It's like this weird Shiite group, I believe. And he's a very, 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 very rich man. And he was friends with the Prime Minister's father, Pierre Trudeau, in the 80s. So Justin decided last year he was going to take a vacation to his private island without really letting the ethics commissioner, who's supposed to approve these things, letting him know. So he goes over to this island, pretty much by himself and with one member of parliament and that guy's husband, and they all just hang out on this island. And he comes back, and they're just like, "So, you weren't supposed to do that." And he literally just said, "I don't care." And so they had an ethics report. And the best part is he had the ethics report. The ethics commissioner talked to him, and he's just like, "Well, you see, I consider the job of prime minister to be really a ceremonial role. It really has what I do really has not that much impact. I'm more of the face of the government. I'm here to just to be the spokesman, to push the policy. I leave most of my decisions to my staff, which means unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats."
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard that, I was like, "Oh fuck. No, this is not how it works," because when the last prime minister was in charge, Harper, he was hardcore. Like he micromanaged every department, and he was a prick. Kept us out of the recession, as bad as it was. He did a half decent job, and then it spiraled out under there because he did a couple of bills and people didn't like it. But anyway, I digress. Trudeau sees this job as something he's entitled to, and that it's he can do what he wants because he didn't discuss business.
He doesn't see himself as a leader. It doesn't sound like.
He doesn't, though. He sees himself as merely a figurehead. But the funny thing is, Canada has two figureheads already. We have the Governor General, who is the Queen's viceroy for Canada, and we have the Queen, technically. So you see, that's what we have. We already have a ceremonial role. So I mean, if we don't have the prime minister, if the prime minister is only ceremonial, then who is technically running the show? Who's making the decisions? Who is pushing the policy? Who's crafting it? Or who's coming up with the ideas? Nobody knows now, because this leaves this can of opens. Is it somebody in the prime minister's office? Is it one of the cabinet ministers? Is it the government house leader? We don't really know. And I mean, you can imagine how concerning that is when your leader says, I really don't care what I'm doing. I'm just here to shake some hands, take some selfies. I got to meet Emma Watson next week for quiche. It's going to be fun. And I'm gonna shout a couple of slogans about feminism, and then I'm gonna go on this island with this random guy whose foundation is heavily invested in my country. But I'm not going to talk about business. Don't worry about that. We're supposed to just trust this guy.
Well, what you're saying is giving me a lot of hope for when NAFTA is being discussed by Trump and him. You realize
he's gonna steamroll the crap out of Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau went to China, and he did the dumbest thing in the world. He goes up to China and he's like, "Hey, we should talk about your human rights record." And China was just like, "No, we're not going to talk about that." And he's like, "No, we should really discuss the abuse of your workers." And they're just like, "You can get the hell out of the country." And their news media ripped his guts out. Like, you had these hardcore communist newspapers pretty much calling Justin Trudeau an empty-headed nitwit. And he went home with nothing. And he even did the TPP deal. He missed one of the big meetings in Vietnam. And the Japanese and the Australians were furious. And Trudeau was just like, "I didn't know I was supposed to attend this one. Oops." And we were all just
So you're saying that you guys shouldn't be part of the G7? Is that what you're trying to indicate as well?
As long as Justin Trudeau's in charge, we're probably going to not be. We're just going to be roughshod. If it's about feminism and snow clearing, we might be able to do something there. We might lead the way, but otherwise, we're screwed.
Well, if you want feminism so bad, all you have to do is tell.
No, Justin Trudeau doesn't shut up about it.
When the snow comes, take pictures outside of see who's shoveling snow and start asking questions. Where are all the women? Get your wife out there. Give her a snow shovel.
Actually, the Swedes had feminist snow clearing in Stockholm, and it really, look it up. I'm not going to go into it, but look it up, and it went horribly wrong, and it was glorious. And It was just wonderful. But
Hey,
long
hey,
story, yeah.
hey, Nachi, are you gonna get some of the snow that's hitting the West Coast? Or, I mean, the East Coast right now?
No, it's going to be 3 feet of snow tomorrow here in Miami.
No way. Yeah, I can imagine.
No, it's going to be like, for us, it's going to be freezing cold. 'Cause it's going
Dude,
to be.
I'm gonna send you up. Actually, I'm just gonna send you down my box of dominoes so you can play in my stead. And you can sit out there next to the palm trees and enjoy yourself. And I'm gonna be shoveling, a foot or two of snow because
You guys are snowed in.
we're going to be. It's calling for like 32 centimeters tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I was going to say to bring it back to North Korea because some of the comments here. This is when I realized, like, I'm short. I'm out of ideas as well, and it seems so easy to do this shit. Like, some of the guys are commenting about, like going back a little bit further with North Korea. Like, one of the things that I thought is that maybe the best thing that Donald Trump could do is just ignore North Korea. But then that's why we're here in the first place. And I'm like, well, I thought that we were here because of Bill Clinton allowing the uranium deal. And
that too. But Nachi, if I can say so, sorry. I'm usually quite, I'm quite the Canadian on this. I'm usually very peaceful and considerate. But I only see there's one option for North Korea, unless there's a regime change internally, which won't happen. It's war. It is a terrible thing. But I honestly believe with all my heart this is what's going to happen because it's getting to the point where it's starting to no longer become a joke. I mean, as soon as Kim Jong-un fired a rocket over Japan, that for me should have been okay. We're going in.
Well, let's talk about these tests for a minute. This latest test did two things. First of all, it showed that they have the ability to hit anywhere in the world, right? Because they have the ability, the height of the missile, which is 2,000. They got a 2,000 kilometers from the Earth. They can put it in orbit. If you can put something in orbit, nothing on Earth is out of reach. Okay, that's a plus for them. Okay, the minus for them was the re-entry was horrible. Okay, it destroyed itself. Okay, so the idea that they can launch a nuke successfully and hit an American city with an actual nuclear device is still quite problematic because you've got to be able to enter the atmosphere without the thing destroying itself.
You do, but like I said, they've already gotten to the point where they are learning from their mistakes and they're learning quickly.
Yes,
and
yes, they are.
I personally think. Listen, I'm not a grand. I'm not a soldier. I'm not sure if you are, but
was X.
Oh well, but I mean, you can understand like North Korea. I've studied it a fair bit. Like I've read von Clausewitz. I've read all the strategies and campaigns of Alexander and everything like that. But I mean, the way I can understand it is that in terms of logistics, North Korea doesn't stand a chance. I mean, their army is starving. Their tanks are out of fuel. They've got artillery, but I mean, that'll hit Seoul, really hit Seoul first. And I've got a cousin who's a military officer who does a lot of like strategic planning in that.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me like those kinds of losses are expected, and as terrible as they are,
I don't know about that. I'll tell you why. All right,
you're sure.
The problem with you got to understand the way Korea is over a quarter of their population resides in Seoul. Okay, so approximately 1/3 of their population is within range of those artillery shells. All right, now is that a big deal? Well, of course it is. Can we take out their artillery with counter battery fire and several of our other systems? Well, yes, to a point, but to be honest, they have so much artillery lined on that border now that it would take an amount of time, and by the time that would happen, you would have literally tens to hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people, dead. All right, just from artillery, and that's not going nuclear. Now, their forces. I will say this right now: the North Korean forces, while they seriously outnumber the South Korean forces, are in no shape to even take the ROK on. the ROK, as long as we supplied them with their weapon systems like we have, would be able to mop the frickin' hell out of their forces. They could easily take and finish a battle against the North Koreans now. So the wild cards in this whole thing actually depend on the two other major powers, which is China and Russia.
I can't see the Russians intervening. I can see the Chinese to an extent because North Korea is their view as a buffer state. The other wild card you're forgetting is the North Korean Special Forces, which are quite numerous. I believe there's around 30,000 North Korean commandos, and they are trained to infiltrate and disrupt. So, North Korea...
I haven't forgotten. Trust me, I haven't forgotten about them.
But, if you think about it, you don't know how many have infiltrated South Korea already. They could be working in munitions factories. They could be working in telecommunications. As soon as they are activated, that's it. Munitions factories are sabotaged, so your industrial production is down in order to have it maintained. You could miss, certain shipments of ammunition. You could miss certain technology.
Well, that's why I said it depends upon the logistics that the United States would supply them.
But the United States is not really too much. Sleeper agents are relatively hard to conduct counter-espionage on. Because, they're hanging out, they're spending their time there, and also...
They can do damage. I'm not going to deny that. However, I don't think that it's enough to turn a tide. Right?
It won't turn the tide.
Forces are just that much more powerful. They really are.
No, I agree with you 100%. But you see, here's the thing, though, is that if they can strike on... think about it. Look at Vietnam as an example. When the NVA used to have, the Viet Cong would infiltrate. And they'd hang it amongst the people, and then one day they'd come outside of their hut with a machine gun and shoot 5 or 6 people dead, and then either be killed or disappear. It's the fear of that, and I can imagine soldiers, they're on the front, they're thinking, say there's an attack in Incheon. Oh crap! My mother lives in Incheon. She might have been going shopping this week. Maybe she was there. And then they're preoccupied with this and that. They're preoccupied with the worry. It's the fear. Fear is a very powerful, weapon as well.
Well, I don't deny that, I'm not trying to downplay the damage that they can do. But as far as if it came to a conflict between the two Koreas.
No, in terms of conventional battle, South Korea the Republic would easily smash them. I don't disagree.
The biggest threat that I see, all right, to be honest, from a South Korean standpoint, if South Korea decided to march in, and I'm taking all the other players off the board, take the United States out, take China out, excuse me, let me cough a bit. Sorry about that. Take Russia out. Take all 3 of the major players off the board. Here's how the scenario would play out. The South Koreans get into a battle with the North Koreans. The South Korean forces, their air force, would seize air superiority almost immediately. You would have an initial push just because of the sheer manpower down to the south of the North Koreans, all right, which would then be brutally beaten back due to air superiority and just the overwhelming firepower differential, all right, that the South Koreans possess. The South Koreans would then begin their march north, and it would be fairly rapid until Kim Jong-un detonated a nuclear bomb.
Oh, and he would. It's guaranteed. It's the last scenario,
Yeah, I figured if they found themselves in that position, then it's suicide. Why not? Fuck it. Because I'm sure that guy is not going to go out like Gaddafi probably, and he's definitely
he's not going to be Saddam. He's not going to be found in the hole with the beard.
No.
And that he's going to blow himself to bits before and take everyone with him.
Yeah, it'll be it'll be some sort of nuclear holocaust kind of thing.
But gentlemen,
it would be what would have happened in Berlin if Hitler had a nuclear weapon.
And that's true, but don't worry, Canada is getting involved in the talks. I'm
the
not
great
joking.
Canadian saviors are on their way.
I'm actually not joking. Justin Trudeau has said that we are working on resolving the North Korean situation because it's Canada's time in the world. Coming from a guy who can't even tell Venezuela to fuck off.
Didn't he just say get some
actually, yeah. He
go
doesn't
ahead,
want
Nachi.
Venezuela to fuck off.
We tried to stand up to Venezuela and they kicked our diplomats out. They're just like you guys have been very naughty with this rigged election and the no democracy and superseding your constitution. We're gonna be not happy with you here in Canada. And Maduro was just like, go home, just leave us alone. What are you going to do? Well, we're not gonna give you financial aid. Oh no, I've lost $30 million a year. Ooh, fuck off. And he's just like the Chinese and Russians will give me more. Go away. We Canada, like Trudeau was trying to project himself as like the new Lester Pearson, and he was a Canadian Prime Minister who was kind of like the peacemaker. And Trudeau isn't. He is the selfie king. He look, like I said, he went here and he couldn't handle Trump. Trump is going to, when NAFTA comes up, oh man, it's going to be bad. It's going to be horrifying. I hope the Mexicans elect someone with some cojones, or else we're all in trouble.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think that with the exception of the wall, I think the deal that we end up with Mexico will end up being very similar to the deal that we have now with Mexico. I don't see a major realignment there. I see more of a realignment with the Canadians than I do.
It will be, because it'll be towards your softwood lumber and your automotive exports and things like that. Mm-hmm. He's already shafted us on softwood lumber. He was just like, you've been doing too good off us. That's done. And Canada was like, but we're friends. I don't give a shit. I need money. Which is a great way to do things. I love that, because
Trump is Trump. You got to give him credit for that.
I do. He doesn't give a shit. And that's what endears me to an extent to Trump, because he's literally just like, listen, we're going America first. If it's not going to benefit my country, I don't want to do it, because you look at foreign aid. He's cutting foreign aid left, right, and center. And he's taking it away from countries that generally don't like the U.S. anyway. Like the U.S. is giving people money to like them. And these countries still have these massive protests where they all burn the flag and jump up and down, and then a McDonald's explodes. It's how you're giving them money to like you, and it's like a kid at lunch who's really unpopular and has no money and has no friends, but he has money.
Let me ask you a different question. All right,
sure.
Something that Trump has done. What your view of this is? What do you think of his view of moving the embassy to Jerusalem?
100% for it. I have because it's Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. It's plain as the nose on my face. And the reason I am supportive of Jerusalem being the capital of Israel is because, and Nachi, I'm sorry for bringing up the Bible, but I'm going to use it as semi-historical evidence of Jewish inhabitants of Israel. The Jews have been in Jerusalem a lot longer than the Palestinians, who came around the time of Muhammad. When they spread their peace across the Middle East.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't know where to stand on it, because I think all Christians and Muslims are second and third rate Jews, and I wish they would finally.
Yeah, that is okay. Yeah, we're just
third rate Jews. Is that what you said?
Yeah, because they don't realize that they're Jewish. They're basically Jewish. I mean,
I'm not good with money, Nachi, so I don't know how Jewish I really am. I'm pretty broke, dude. But no, the other reason. But
you mean Semitic is what you mean? They're part of it. If you're going to talk about a quote-unquote race per se, they're all part of the same Semitic race.
Unless you listen to those weirdos who think that they're all like Turkish wanderers from the steppes, and not actually European or Semitic. I mean, it gets kind of weird. The theories are just ridiculous.
Well, within Israel, I mean.
Now everybody's jumping in.
Oh God, no! I've opened the hornet's nest.
No, go ahead, Nachi.
No, sorry that I cut you guys off, because I feel compelled to be talking about who's in the comments and stuff like that. And now Waltzmer Stories is in, and Waltzmer was asking you, MC. I can never get it right. Torsten, basically. Welshmer's stories.
Weltschmerz.
And he's asking if North Korea really has 50 interballistic missiles, what percentage do you think will hit the USA? I would say none. I don't think. Are they already at the capacity that they could hit the United States? Because I thought that they could barely reach Alaska.
No, they can hit the U.S. From a distance standpoint. Their systems can hit the entire. They could hit Washington D.C. theoretically. Like I said, this last missile launch that they used demonstrates that they can put things in orbit. All right, they're at a height where it's easy to attain geosynchronous orbit. Actually, all right.
Well, MC, they've been practicing with toasters for years, so I'm pretty sure they managed to be able to. It took them this long to learn how to get it into space. I mean, thanks to toaster technology.
It's not so much that there's two things about missile technology that are still questionable. One is their re-entry capability, which I talked about earlier. The other question still remains is just how reliable are they? All right, there's a lot of little things, all right, that will improve the reliability of this kind of technology. And in fact, that was one of the things that Ron Brown actually handed over to the Chinese during the Clinton administration.
Yes,
was
the
Loral
Space. Is that Loral Space Communications?
Loral Space, yes.
Yes. Good old Andrew Wilkow reminded me of that one.
Was to show them where their quality control was insufficient in order that allowed them to make such great strides in their space program. Because without that, they probably would have killed several astronauts when they attempted to launch them into orbit on their space program. And I'm not trying to make an actual value judgment, assessment, positive or negative about that at this point. I'm just mentioning this so that people understand what I'm referring to when I talk about missile technology. So can the Koreans hit us? If they have 50 missiles, if they launched all 50 of them, how many would hit the United States? There is at least a 50-50 chance that we would get them all, right? One may get through. One is horrible if it hits a populated area. Okay, but like I said, with the way they do things, all right, you got to understand when we look at defense and you're talking about missile defense and things like that, what do we defend mostly? We defend the heavily populated areas the most. So if something's going off course and is going to hit, somewhere in South Dakota or somewhere in Nebraska or something like that, that could just as easily be looked upon as an acceptable loss.
Now, also, would Seattle count? Because it's a rather liberal bastion. We could probably do without a few.
You forget that Seattle has a major naval base nearby, and we actually do have a fairly good-sized army base not too far away from there, so that would be heavily defended.
Okay, so I guess we can't just get rid of a few liberals along the way, because if it hits somewhere like North Dakota or somewhere with like a really Republican, base, the liberals are just going to be like, oh no, it's terrible. Yes, send in the Californians. They're going to just move Californians in, and it'll just like liberalize the place. But by the way, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to make light of nuclear war. Just trying to add a little humor into things, because if we can't laugh about how fucked we all are, then what's the point? But also, this is the most I've ever sworn on a stream, so I must be in a good mood. But
I must bring out the best in people.
Yeah, I've got to get you on a stream sometime. But
Canadians, why are Canadians so damn nice? Stream.
Nachi, we've had this conversation. We have had this conversation. I'm not really Canadian. You have to remember this. But I'm a newfie. That's we're the better ones.
The better white meat. Is that what you're saying?
We're kind of mixed race because we just came over here, and half my relatives are French, and the other half are British, and then a little bit of Aboriginal. So the French side got a little naughty. So I'm
naughty. Basically, the French were the first ones that actually weren't the French the first ones who actually were home. The ones who came over to stay. The ones who came over to stay.
No, the British did in Newfoundland in the 1600s, because most of them just jumped off the man-of-war boats and just swam over and just hung out here.
Oh, because they were trying to escape the ships.
and then were murdered by the Beothuk Indians, who then we later caused to become extinct with smallpox and guns. And other Aboriginal tribes we brought in to hunt them down because we couldn't actually find them because white people in the woods are not very good. So that's how that worked. I just wanted to say right quick, though, get us jokes aside there. I just want to say one other point of why I'm in favor of Jerusalem. Because I'm very much pro-Israel because of the fact that it is the freest country in the Middle East. There's no comparison. No other country even comes close to the stability, to the safety, and to the rights that people in the Middle East enjoy. You know what I mean? In Israel. You can be gay in Israel and serve in the military and everything's fine. And in most other, or in any other Middle Eastern country, because I mean, Turkey's completely gone off the rails now. So Israel, for all its faults, is the lesser of the bearded evils.
Well, yeah, I'm very pro-Israel. I still have, and of course, this has nothing to do with
Zionist. I called you a Zionist.
You can't win. You just can't win. You
can't.
You even, and if I were to mention anything about the settlements, oh, you're fucking anti-Semitic. What are you, a Nazi?
But here's the, and I don't, they're like, Israel is an apartheid state. Why? Oh, because they built the wall around it. You mean because the Palestinians wouldn't stop throwing missiles and blowing up things? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they're fighting back by sneaking into people's houses and killing them. Oh, yeah, that's you're real Nelson Mandela there, my friend.
Well, and that's true. And what you're saying is 100% accurate. All right, but there's also the fact that, let's be honest, the Israelis have also, when they conquered territory, their main focus was to seize waterland, seize land that has water on it. Okay, and
the Palestinians would have done the same thing if they were in the position.
I'm not disagreeing with that, right? But it is an issue of water rights to a large extent. It's not the only thing that's going on. I mean, the reality is what people forget about with the way Israel was founded. There was a lot of different things going on simultaneously that, once again, it's a confluence of events. It's not just a single event with Israel. It's a series of events as things developed, and we're in the situation that we're in. Regardless of what happened in the past, we have to deal with the situation as it exists currently. All right, and I don't put all the blame on Israel. I definitely don't put all the blame on the Palestinians, although they continue to have the lion's share of it in this case, in my opinion.
Well, they provoke it. I mean, and the way I also see this is that at the moment, a two-state solution is unattainable.
Well, a two-state solution means that you in order for a two-state solution, if you're committed to the idea of a two-state solution, if you truly are, right, then you have to recognize the fact that Jerusalem is going to be Israel's capital.
Definitely.
That's a fact. And to see the Palestinians and the rest of the Arab world react the way they did just because we moved an embassy.
Yeah, we moved
a building. Just because we acknowledged and showed an actual commitment to the quote-unquote two-state solution gives you...
Even Barack Obama said it. Here's the funny thing is that Barack Obama was on, talking about, this is not a good idea. But Barack Obama promised it. He said it. I remember hearing a clip where Barack Obama was just like, look, Israel is the eternal capital. Every U.S. president has talked about this in some way, shape, or form. And only Donald Trump was just like, okay, I'm done. Let's just take the building and you got to move it over there. And that's it. I sound like Bernie Sanders. Fuck. But move it over there and let's see the fireworks. No pun intended.
It put the pressure back on the Palestinians and back on the other nations. And whether you like the idea or you think the idea is a good idea or a bad idea, you can't deny the fact that the current situation with the quote-unquote peace talks was going nowhere. And this at least shook that up.
It's been going nowhere for decades. I mean, Camp David was a flop. Everything really, well, to an extent. I mean, to stop the intifada, okay, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's accomplished jack all, and it's
When you say Camp David, what are you referring to?
I mean, the incident that ended the Intifada.
Oh, okay. So you're not going back to the Camp David Accords with Sadat and Begin.
No. I'm not going. Okay, now that was useful. That was probably the last time it was generally incredibly useful.
Yeah, but it shows my age a bit.
It's no problem. I apologize for being not as up on it as I should. I'm still.
No. I understand what you're saying. It's just but that's why I was trying to understand how you get the Intifada with the Camp David peace accords with Carter, Sadat, and Begin.
Which, by the way, really quick, I'm just going to interject. I am sometimes amazed at how much shit some of you guys actually know. That when I put up these live streams, I make the mistake of thinking I know just enough to fucking rant for like about an hour, and then I hear like all these little details where I'm like, oh damn. Okay.
I have really nothing else to do with my time usually, so I've always been I've not been a social guy, so I just stuck my nose in books, and I keep a very interesting library. You don't even want to see my iPad reading list. It's massive. But
how do we solve it? Because my main thing, aside from trying to sell T-shirts, which I'm gonna towards the end of this, I gotta wrap this shit up too. That's the other thing. And towards the end of this, I'm gonna put T-shirts. But I honestly and sincerely, maybe I'm just very naive. I think we can solve these fucking problems. That's me, and that's what I like. You know.
Oh, okay. Let me speak if you don't mind. The one thing to recognize, Nachi, right? When you talk about like the healthcare in America and we can solve this, I totally agree with you because it's ours to solve. We can solve it. We don't need other people involved in solving our healthcare. We can solve it ourselves. Yes, we need to argue with it, but it's within our purview. It's within our abilities. When it comes to the Middle East peace, let's be real. I'm going to be real blunt. We can't solve the Middle East peace. All right.
Nope.
We can provide a structure in which peace could happen, but if the parties themselves, if any of the parties, any one of them doesn't want peace, you won't have it. We can't really solve that. They literally have to want peace.
Now,
because we want peace is immaterial to them.
Oh yeah, it is. It definitely is. Now, if I can interject and say one final thing on the whole peace process and that, the only way you will never get the Palestinians to acquiesce to Jerusalem is Israel, because if you did, it is an admission that has lost a battle. It's not lost the war, but in terms of that, it's lost a major point, and their pride and sense of honor, as they see it, is not going to let that happen. They must have Al-Aqsa, or I'm just going to be honest and call it the Temple Mount, because that's for God's sakes what it is. We can't beat around the bush. They want the Temple Mount. They don't care about anything else. They just want that bloody rock, and that's it. And then, once they get that is their foothold in Jerusalem. That is what's keeping them there right now. It's the third holiest site in Islam for some weird reason. Because I'm sure if you know your histories in that, apparently Muhammad flew there on a magic horse. And
he flew up to heaven from the Alaska Mosque. Yes.
Yeah, so which as we all know is absolutely impossible. But anyway, they use that as a casus belli, and who are we to judge? But yet we can't give Egypt back to the Coptics, but that's another battle for another day. Make Egypt Christian again. Hashtag. But I had to interject with that. But you know what I mean. I'm just saying is that they will not budge on Al-Aqsa. That's not going to happen at all. They probably burned the world down before they gave that up, and that is why I personally believe in my heart of hearts, it's peace. The solution, two-state solution, is unobtainable as it stands, and it will not happen. No matter how many selfies the Prime Minister takes, it's just not going to happen.
Oh, unfortunately I agree with you. Go ahead, Nachi. You're going to interject.
The only thing I was mine is more. I usually come at it from this philosophical perspective. I guess it boggles my fucking mind, especially when you were bringing up Muhammad flying on a horse. How difficult is it for so many people to just see through all this bullshit? Like, how do most Palestinians not realize how they're being played by their own leaders, how they're being used? And I guess that
why do people keep voting Democrat? That's the other thing.
Well,
That's
there's several factors involved in that. And
no, for sure. You can go ahead, Ed. If I were to write a list, I could bet that I'm pretty much sure what they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand. But biggest thing is we human beings we have a number of commonalities as being humans. One good thing and bad thing about humans is humans are naturally curious. Right. Another thing about humans is we're naturally lazy. Okay. So when you're at a level where you think you're comfortable, you want to stay there. And you have a group of people, the Palestinians, their lifestyle has been their lifestyles their entire lives. They don't know anything better. They do know they can look at somebody else and say, they've got more than me. All right. And then they can look and say, well, why don't I have that? And it's real easy for someone to look at them and say, and for them to listen to, they have more than you because they stole it from you. They took it from you. You know, because then you don't have to do any kind of self-examination. You know, it's a really easy siren song to keep people once they're already oppressed. It's fairly easy to keep them oppressed. It really is.
I
Sorry,
agree.
I had the mute on because usually I like to let people talk, and then I'm just looking at the comments and I'm like, it's funny.
I haven't seen them.
Yeah, it's a good thing the comments disappear after the stream is over. Like,
yeah.
It's just funny, and I know that I know Eric is fucking kidding with the shit that he's saying. It just for me, it just I don't know. I wish I had the answers to these problems, and I think I know what the answer. The answer, to tell you the truth, the answer is really fucking simple. If people just stopped being assholes, it really does come down to that. It really comes down to that, and yet it's amazing how difficult it becomes to get something so simple to materialize.
If you want that, just take a look at the YouTube community where people take pride in being shit posters and assholes.
I'm trying to change mine. Especially on Twitter, because
you're not. You're from what I've seen, you're way mild. All right, compared to a lot of what I've witnessed.
Me too. I've just been trolling the Communist Party. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
I've just been busy trolling the Communist Party of Canada. It's just jewels of glory dripping down on me. MC, by the way, if you got Twitter, I gotta tweet you up, man.
MCJK33S.
On it.
And then what I was gonna say is like I've been noticing how what do you call it? There is a way to communicate with Torsten, Walsmer's stories. I always forget how to pronounce it right. That could have turned out to be a bitter little thing, but I chose to hold back on some of the comments that I made, back at him and stuff like that. And we, I can't say that we're friends now, like we're best friends or anything like that. We're just internet buddies like I am with you guys. But dude, the guys helped me out with like Adobe After Effects and stuff. And I'm telling you, I know that at the core of a lot of these problems, it's just misinformation that's the guilty culprit, really. And now I know it's really difficult. I think you get your people like Linda Sarsour, talking about Palestine. I think there are certain people that they're not going to fucking change.
There are people. Most people in the world. I'm going to be real blunt. Most people in the world are good. Okay, but there are people. There are people who are they're evil. They will never contribute anything to humanity aside from disease and destruction and despair.
No, for sure. And there are certain people you got to kill them. There are certain people. No, for sure. And there's no that, and that's where life itself is this weird paradox, I guess. It's like, wow, it is amazing how there are certain people that you just, yeah, dude. And that's why I'm all for the death penalty. I'm trying to be polite on Twitter, but dude, if we need to bring up the death penalty, dude, you do that too. And that's
how do you feel about corporal punishment?
Personally?
Like corporal punishment, like say for example, spanking kids in school.
But then that's the weird thing. I think that might actually be counterproductive, if it's not.
You haven't seen kids
here. I honestly think that what it has to be, okay, corporal punishment in the school should be authorized by the parents. If a parent comes in and says, "I don't mind you spanking my child," fine. I think that in schools, when you come in and you put your kid in school, you get to sign the form of which kid, if you're comfortable with another adult disciplining your child, right? If you are, and you accept corporal that they're going to be responsible with corporal punishment, you're taking a risk, okay? Because to say that people will not abuse this, is a mistake. And I know people are very sensitive of their children, right? I know I'm very sensitive to mine, right? But while I personally wouldn't have a problem with a school handing out corporal punishment, my wife, on the other hand, who's the one who took the kids to get to school and everything, she would never have allowed anything like that. And I'm fine with that as well, to be honest. But if they have to go, and I have to discipline.
The way I see it is that, and this is I'm working on a theory lately, so that's going to be fun. But anyway, the way I see it is that in terms of corporal punishment, if you enroll your child into school with the knowledge that corporal punishment is a part of that school life, and I'm not saying like beat the kid upside the head with a paddle or something like that. I'm talking about like when my father was in school, and this was the 50s and 60s. You get the strap on the hands, or my mom got the nuns. They give you the strap too.
The ruler.
No, it was actually a rather thick board shaped like a ruler. But it instilled discipline, because I'd say to my father, what would happen if, say, you got into a fight at school? Oh, the principal would give it to my hands with the strap. I was like, okay, what happens then? And then my father would come and beat the crap out of me, in a loving way, and spanking and all that, I guess. And I was like, did it work? He's like, I didn't want to go back to school and get into a fight. So I see it as a necessary evil, because I'm pretty sure we can all agree kids today are vicious little shits.
Oh, some of them are, yeah. But I wonder if you end up opening up the door. And sorry, your beard. You might have to back up the beard again.
Yeah. Okay. Better.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think you end up opening up the door to some pretty sadistic adults.
Well, not really, because I mean, like it was implemented before, and as long as we're not like, doing the whole church school kind of things, with a little bit of diddling here and there, I think it's
That's a pretty flippant way to say it, don't you think?
Well, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to be PG.
I do.
I mean, I could be a bit more vulgar about it, but I'd rather not. But no, but I mean, like, as long as we have the discipline to an extent, like a strap over the hands or something like that. I mean, I think it can be a way, because I mean, they'll associate this unpleasant experience with bad behavior, and then psychologically they will say it, and after a while, I don't want to do this. Work, because right now, I mean, you're going to send your kid to his room, or her room, Zer's room, whatever you want to call it. And what are you going to do? You're going to stay there, don't do anything. They've got TVs, they've got Nintendo Swifts, they've got Game Boys, they've got all these things, which shows my age too. And they're going to be sitting in the room, ha ha ha, fuck you, I'm going to do this and that. I'm going to come out an hour later, I'm going to have my cake, and I'm going to go back inside like nothing happened. There is no real incentive to be good, as it were, and to behave. And I've seen it in my own area because I've seen the, um, I hate to sound so Victorian, but moral degradation of it. I mean, the drugs are rising in schools. There's fights. There's I think there was a stabbing, and all kinds of things. And these are things that didn't happen before. And I have a friend who's a teacher, and they told me, they're like, I can have a kid stand up in the middle of my classroom, call me the most vulgar names ever, beat up my classroom, and unless he physically breaks something, he can push desk against the wall and things like that. But as long as nothing's broke, he's like, I can't do anything. I can tell him to go to the office, but I can't physically touch him. And if it was me, I would just be like, give him, as my South African friends was like, give him a good hiding, and that'll fix it.
Well, there is okay. I don't know if I should relate this story or not, right? But I remember being in the third grade, and we in the school that I had, I'd heard that they had corporal punishment. They would spank you, right? Now I had never been spanked before, and after this incident, I was never spanked again. But this curiosity got the better of me, and I waited on the playground until a teacher was looking at me, and I shoved what turned out to be this little girl. I was just going to shove somebody just to see if they would take me to the principal's office and promptly spank me, which they promptly did. But my whole focus at this was, I'm just curious. I wasn't worried they were going to harm me. All right. Now, in the third grade, I think I was 9 or 10. I don't remember the exact age. But I was just curious, and at this point in time, at this age, I'm already exploring the fact that I know that pain is temporary. I haven't really gotten into my head that permanent damage could be done to me because, I play all the time. I had fallen out of trees and not got the wind knocked out of me. I had my hands cut on glass one time pretty severely, where I had to get stitches and things like that. So I knew that. I'd already got in my head that I can recover. I don't have a conception of death, really. But there are people like that in the world.
How American.
Right? If they wouldn't have done that, if they wouldn't have taken me and promptly spanked me, what would have happened is when I got home, I would have gotten spanked, which I did as well. But so it was going to work on me whether this was going to happen or not. But there are people like me that were out there that if you didn't do this, they would go further and further off the rails.
And yes, they would. And I'll level my own personal story. I would have been like that because you wouldn't believe it, but I have severe ADHD, and I used to be a bit of a wild child. And I do this. I got spanked every now and then. Nothing violent, enough to hurt me or severely. But I mean, enough to let me know that this was wrong, and it kept me on the straight and narrow in its way. But I only got it when I was wrong. My parents are not the abusive type. They're very fair people.
I think most parents are like that. I don't think parents come home just to. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen because obviously they're. Unfortunately, in our world, it does.
It does. I mean, there's some parents who come home and they're just like, I'm bored. Let's just beat the children. Yeah. It's not like that. But I mean, I'm just saying is that my parents instilled in me that discipline, and my father had that discipline instilled in him by his father, who was a sailor.
Yeah.
So he really didn't put up with any shit, but he nearly shot a monkey with a rifle. But that's actually a fun story, by the way. But anyway, long story short, I mean, this discipline's instilled, and if I have kids someday, and hopefully I will, if they do something wrong, I'm going to spank them because I feel that it is a way to instill discipline, as long as you're not going overboard, because it works for me. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know what I would have been right now. I mean, I probably wouldn't have a steady job. I probably would be, involved in criminal activity. I think I would. Because no one would have told me, what you're doing is wrong, what you're doing is incorrect, and there's consequences. I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
And so, this is why I'm in favor of corporal punishment.
I'm in favor, like I said, of it being available if the parents are willing to release that to
But I mean,
the
I
adults.
think
If they trust their school enough to allow for it.
nowadays, though, I think that's really difficult because the whole, accusations fly all over the place these days, and it's easy to say, hey, it's easy to go from a spanking to one day in the school showers kind of a thing.
No, hey,
So,
dude, that's happening even without the corporal punishment. And what's amazing is that it's happening with like pretty good-looking female teachers with young boys. And a lot of them are here in Florida. It's
actually, did you hear about that Florida teacher or a soccer coach who tried to take that girl to Canada with him?
No, those, believe it or not, it's more rare to hear about the men doing it to the girls than it is the women doing it to the boys. And
we don't really have that here because none of my teachers were incredibly attractive. Unlike nowadays, I hate this generation because a lot of the people I went to school with are teachers here now. I wish they were my teachers. It would have made learning a lot easier, or harder.
I was gonna say really quick. Number one, I got to wrap this up.
Yeah,
but
no worries.
Here's the thing. You know how there's just stereotypical when you see certain stories in the news, you could already tell if it's sorry, dude, fuck it. I don't have to apologize to you guys, that's for sure. There are certain news stories that you're like, yeah, that's going to be a black guy, or yeah, that's going to be a Muslim, or when it's like a mass shooting, yeah, it's going to be a white guy. Dude, when I hear about
Cuban
with a student teacher having sex with student, I'm like, it's going to be a hot blonde from Florida. It's almost always a hot blonde from Florida in her mid-20s. So you're just like, wow. Why didn't you just go into porn? I mean, it's like, yeah, it's amazing. Anyway. Anyway, dude. So, dude, thank you guys for contributing, man. You guys put in part of the reason why I just let you guys talk is I was like, wow, you guys actually are fucking more knowledgeable about this shit than I am. And so thanks for putting that out. Let's see if this will reverberate throughout society somehow, some way, the ideas,
and Nachi, when I get some more cash, I am commissioning you to do some art for me.
All right, thanks. But speaking of which, thanks for that segue. I am going to really quick. Sorry, I got to hawk the wares here. Let me
do it.
And let me make sure I get these up here.
You should be proud to hawk your wares. Your wares are awesome, dude.
Oh, thank you.
They are.
Thank you. So that's these. These are the T-shirts that I have for sale that for a mere $25 donation, you get a free T-shirt with free shipping and handling. What a deal. For $25, it's free. I guess I
should throw an extra $5.
Now seriously, 25 American bucks. 25 American bucks gets you these shirts, which I don't have on Teespring. These are silk screens, really, limited edition, because I'm not reprinting this shit. I'm not going through all the hassle that I went through to make these. So for anyone that's interested, they're homegrown. This is soon, one of these days, I hope to make this pipe dream a reality. So these are the designs. This one's the Joker, and all the other ones that I showed at the end of this video. If you're interested, you can check them out. Let me know, and the link for the PayPal is down below. And dude, thank you guys again, man. I really appreciate it, as always.
No worries. Anytime, man. It's an absolute pleasure to always come on.
Yeah, man. And nothing.
Let me spew. Rant.
Hey, man, with the amount of detail and information you guys throw in, dude, that's it's more than a rant. So I appreciate it, man. So anyway, dude. Well, Happy New Year to you guys, and yeah, man. I'm gonna wrap this one up.
Oh, okay. Well, have a good one, guys. And MC, I'll shoot you a DM.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool,
All
man.
right. Have a
Happy
good night,
New Year,
everyone.
Hey, later, man.
Have a good night. Night.
Night. And thanks for watching.